What's up, guys? It's me, Lori, aka Loretta Child, the sex reporter, here to start objective conversations about sex. This is a live stream because I don't usually post. Like, I posted a video this morning and I'm not due to do another one until Monday, but something came up today and I wanted to talk to you guys about it, and I feel like it just couldn't wait. There's this story out there that Teyana Taylor is like having this exchange with a fan on social media talking about the fact that she has threesomes with her husband, and you know, people have some things to say about that because people like to get in their feelings when it comes to other people's relationships, specifically celebrity relationships. And I get that, you know, like everybody likes gossip, except that when it comes to things like judging people's marriages for things that are not considered like traditional behavior in marriages, I feel like people get really extra judgy and, you know, basically want to invalidate somebody else's experience because it doesn't match with their worldview. And obviously this is like a very topical thing for this channel, since like that's the complete opposite. That mentality is like the complete opposite of what I try to advocate every day, which is basically like everybody has their own experience. And if we're talking about a sexual experience between two consenting adults, you know, just because it's not what you would do, which is fine, doesn't mean that everyone else has to do exactly what you would do in your life. So anyway, before I get into all that, I don't even know if this is working, by the way. Like, I'm trying this app for the first time for live streaming and whatever, and I know the lighting's terrible because like the sun is setting outside my window, but bear with me. I'm trying this out because I need a sort of way to quickly get online sometimes to talk to you guys without, you know, having to set up a whole video and do like extra stuff in addition to all the work that I have to do. So basically, the story is, if you haven't heard Teyana's album yet, you have to. It's so good. And there's one song on it called Three-Way, which is kind of like, oh, so that's how you guys get down. Basically, she's saying that she invites other women into the bedroom with her husband. And I mean, she doesn't explicitly say it like that, but it's obviously inspired by reality. She got asked about it naturally on an interview, and she says, yeah, like that's what we do. And she said something like they do it on special occasions or something like that. And whatever, that's what they're into. And then, you know, people have all been commenting on it. And one person happened to say to her, I think on Twitter, that, you know, she and Iman Shumpert used to be relationship goals. Now this person says, quote, I just feel like her interview was tasteless and shows a lack of self-respect. I mean, I have issues with this comment, not because like this person's commenting at all on what Teyana said, because obviously if you're going to be a celebrity and you're going to put your life out there for the public to see and to comment on, people are going to comment on it. The issue that I have here is like, why does everybody always have to take something that's different from them and then immediately diagnose the person with some kind of problem? Like, she must not respect herself because she likes this thing that I can't imagine liking, you know, but whatever. That's the first thing that happened. And then Teyana basically responds and says, she accuses this person of having a whack sex life and tells her to stay out of her sex life, which is like, you know, it's natural that a person would be defensive if you come for their marriage. I would be defensive if you came for my relationship. You know, the assumption that you know what's best for somebody that you don't even know, you've never personally met, is really presumptuous. And so I get that a person would be angry and like clap back at a fan like that. So that response is natural. Really, nothing else could have been expected, except that it's a little hypocritical to tell people not to judge your sex life and then to turn around and be like, your sex life must be whack because you don't have threesomes, which is bullshit too. I mean, the entire conversation swung from slut shaming Teyana Taylor to prude shaming whoever this woman is, who obviously only believes in pure traditional monogamous relationships. So that was the initial exchange. But what got me to make this video, or to try to go live with this video today, is the fact that all the commentary on the internet now is like, what is this? This is bullshit. This is a sham of a marriage. How can you take wedding vows and then do something like, you know, destroy this, you know, the sacred whatever, insinuating that Teyana's marriage can't be real because like they engage in like kinky sexual behavior. That is the kind of sex negative bias that I'm not okay with, because once you start judging people like that, it makes people shut down. It makes people unable to then express their actual sexual desires. And on top of everything else, it's like, who are you to say who are you to judge what a person's marriage vow is supposed to mean to them when you weren't the person that took that vow. You weren't the person that wrote it. You weren't the person that said it. You weren't the person that exchanged rings, if that's what they did. And you weren't there to even witness it. So where does anybody get off defining marriage for anybody else? That's what I don't understand. One of the issues that I think frequently comes up is like when religious people talk about marriage. And I think, obviously, like, I believe in freedom of religion. I think that if you believe that marriage is something under God and it's got to be defined a certain way for you, that you should, to the best of your ability, make your marriage what you believe it should be. Where I don't get it is like, you know, if you also believe in freedom of religion, assuming you are in a country like I am in the United States, where people are free to believe what they want, why then would you say that everyone's got to believe in a Christian marriage or whatever type of marriage it is that you think, you know, applies to your life and people who worship with you in your church? The rhetoric around marriage and the sanctity of marriage and vows and all this stuff, it's all assuming that whoever it is that you're talking about believes in the same institutions as you do. And it also assumes that the institution of marriage is some like timeless, natural thing that is intrinsic in humanity, when it's not. Marriage has evolved so much over the years. Marriage used to be a business transaction between families. In many countries, it still is. The idea that like you're supposed to marry your soulmate and that this is like some sacred bond or something like that, that is a modern invention. And of course it would be nice. I buy into it. I grew up on Disney movies, you know what I'm saying? If I ever get married, I want to be in romantic love with somebody. I am a monogamous person as well, but I know better than to say that what I believe applies to everyone else. And I don't understand why. I mean, I do understand why, but I wish that people just open their minds a little bit. And when talking about these things, if you're not for the threesomes because you have XYZ logical reason why they might be bad for you and your partner, I think that's a worthwhile conversation to have. Threesomes are complicated. If there's jealousy, if there is insecurity involved, yes, they're very hard to manage. I've never had a threesome. I can just imagine in my own mind, knowing my own insecurities, why that might be an issue in my monogamous relationships. But talking about how you feel personally, and understanding that that is your personal opinion is very, very important when it comes to something that's so personal as sexuality and love. You know what I'm saying? People experience love very differently. People get married for different reasons. People have different goals in life when they do get married. So I just really want to put this out there. And I think this is where I'm going to end it. But I just want to put it out there that I hope that in having these discussions, which are super fun discussions, like, just remember that personal preferences are personal preferences and other people are entitled to theirs. If they're not hurting anybody and they're expressing their love with each other however it is that they want to, however it is that they think is the most sexy way to do that, let them live. Ask them about it. Find out what it's like if you're curious. I think you probably are if you've got like so many opinions about it. Ask them what it's like, get your questions answered, and use that to inform your own opinion of how you want to handle things with your spouse, should your spouse ever want a threesome. And that's actually one more issue I want to bring up, which is when you have this knee-jerk reaction, moralistic reaction to things that in reality a lot of people are probably interested in, you're shutting down the conversation before it can even start. And what happens if the person that you love really, really wants that? You thinking that it's morally outrageous is not going to make them not want it. It's just going to make them feel afraid to express that to you, the person they're supposed to trust, to talk to, and to tell all their desires to. And I'm not saying you have to do it just because your spouse wants to or because your partner does. Like, you obviously can set your own boundaries. And I'm actually going to talk about that in an upcoming video, maybe not next week, but the week after. But you can set your own boundaries, but it really doesn't help your relationship to set such rigid boundaries that you can't even talk about anything that falls outside of them, and that even the mere mention of something that's in disagreement with you is going to possibly destroy your relationship with somebody that you really love. Is that love? Like, if you really care for somebody and their well-being, even if you don't agree with them, wouldn't you want to know what they think? And wouldn't you want them to trust you enough that they could tell you what they think? That is the type of relationship I want. I don't think I'm ever going to meet a person who is letter by letter exactly the same as me, who wants every single thing the same as me. But what I hope is that the people that I love understand that I love them enough to accept them for who they are. And I hope that they love me enough to accept my boundaries or to accept who I am if they happen to be like more conservative than me. So just putting that out there. This is my first live stream. If the quality comes out terrible in reviewing it, I'm probably gonna take it down. But otherwise, I hope you guys are subscribed if you're not already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.